Okay, hey guys, we're there. Final unit, home stretch. We made it. We are at the cover letter and final portfolio of the semester. So I want to point to some similarities and differences in our last unit in terms of the rhythm of the course. You'll notice that we don't have any assigned readings and we don't have any kind of a discussion forum or peer response to that discussion forum this week. You do have a draft that is due this week and you do need to provide peer review to that draft, but it is not due on Wednesday this week. Instead, it is due on Tuesday. And what's due, the draft that is due, is your reflective cover letter. Your draft of that is due by midnight on Tuesday, and you need to have provided peer review to a peer's draft by Wednesday at midnight. And that's because you guys are going to have a very tight turnaround here to take any feedback that you get from your peer and then make revisions to your cover letter before you submit your final portfolio by 5 p.m. on the final day of class. Do note that this is the 1 week where I do not provide feedback for you. I will not look at your rough draft of your cover letter. This will be the one piece of writing that gets submitted in your final portfolio without my hands being on the draft at all. You will have received feedback from a peer, and you will have read a peer's draft, which you will then use that, experience to help inform any kind of revisions you're going to make to your own cover letter. But I will not personally weigh in on the cover letter till I see it in your final portfolio. Okay, so we've got our assignment sheet right here. So let's get right to it. So the assignment requirements for the reflective cover letter and your final portfolio. So in the final week of this course, we'll work on pulling together the elements of the digital e-portfolio, which is just your online portfolio. And it will be uploaded in the assignment link in the final weekly module by the last class at 5 p.m. If you want to work in any platform of your choosing, that is fine with me. In other words, if you have used Digication or a portfolio in RC1000 and you want to build another one of those and just submit the link to me in copy and paste that link into your the assignment bank here on AzuleLearn, that's fine. I am not going to take time during our summer session to teach you guys that platform. If you'd rather just compile everything into a Microsoft Word document or a PDF, or if you want to build a Weebly or a Wix, a Prezi, if you want to work in Google Sites and you want to house everything digitally and then just give me a link that you copy and paste into that assignment block, that's fine as well. But whatever you do, however you submit your final portfolio, you need to make sure of a couple of things. One, that you've uploaded a link if it is not just a document that you're sharing with me, right? If it is housed online, I need access to it through a link. And that needs to be submitted through AzuleLearn. Don't email me the link. I need it actually turned in to our AzuleLearn site here. So that may mean that you're copying and pasting a link into a Word document and then just uploading the document that I can then open and then click on the link from there. Or you're saving everything into one large document and uploading the document into AzuleLearn. That's perfectly fine. If you do choose to work with a link that takes me to wherever you're housing your materials online, make sure you give me sharing privileges or viewing privileges. You would not be the first student to submit a final portfolio link to me and then check out for summer and take off on whatever adventure you're heading on and not even realize that you never gave me viewing privileges. So you've got a 0 now on the portfolio, because it's an incomplete class and the final portfolio is a requirement in order to complete the class. So not to dwell on it, but just to make sure that you guys are being really careful that you've come this far, you've made all this progress, make sure I can see your work by the time you submit that final portfolio. Okay, so the final portfolio is basically a digital manuscript that tells the story of your learning experience and your writing process during RC 2001. So by the time you upload that portfolio, your progress should be vivid to anyone picking it up, but most importantly to you. The goal of any writing and learning portfolio assigned in a process and learner-centered course such as this is to reveal something new to ourselves as learners. Portfolios are galleries that showcase polished work and their processes along the way. So by the time you're ready to upload this portfolio, you and I will have been reading and rereading your work and the work of your peers for several weeks. We will all be tracking each other's metamorphoses in different ways, but this is an opportunity for you to stand back, look at the different kinds of writing and text that you've created, how you've created them, and what shifted in those texts and in your abilities. This is also an opportunity to deepen your understanding of your own writing and learning process within a disciplinary context. If you've engaged in work in this course that honors your individual learning needs, that challenges any assumptions you might have previously accepted about your writing abilities, and reflects the ways in which you have explored the disciplinary intersections at the heart of your own interests and your chosen field, then your portfolio will give you something new to take from this course and into your major level writing courses. Your job is to trust that process and the integrity of your work. So in one document, either a digital platform that you create or one single Word document or a PDF, you want to make sure you include the following. Draft 1 of your literacy narrative, WID project, and rhetorical analysis. Drafts 2, following the revision guidelines that were listed above in all of the assignment sheets and in all those videos. So all of those revision guidelines of the literacy narrative, WID project, and rhetorical analysis so that you can arrive at draft 2. One peer response that you posted on a peer's draft that best reflects your investment in that peer and fellow learner. Right? So of all the peer reviewing that you've been doing this semester of a peer's draft, grab one response that you posted, not their draft, but your response to that draft, and submit that here so that I can see what you feel best reflects your investment in the learning community in terms of engaging in other people's writing. One reading response that you felt strongly about. So go back and look at your reading responses from the semester and post one week of those reading responses. So I can see what you think was sort of your best reflective moment as a reader this semester. And then a double-spaced 2-page Dear Dr. Blackburn reflective cover letter that introduces me to your work, and see below for the assignment requirements for this cover letter. This is a pretty important piece, and this is why you'll see that by Tuesday at midnight, you need to have submitted the rough draft of that cover letter. It's not something that you'll have written yet in this class. You may have written a reflective cover letter in RC 1000 or elsewhere along your academic journey, but it's a Dear Dr. Blackburn letter in which you you introduce me to everything that's in the portfolio, but you also reflect on your growth as a reader and a writer this semester, and you reflect on the ways in which you have met each specific learning objective as outlined in our syllabus and on our As You Learn page. So let's talk a little bit now about that portfolio, the learning objectives and the grading criteria. So you want to make sure that you have a 2-page cover letter that functions as a clear and critical summary of all artifacts in the portfolio and explains their importance to the portfolio. That is 10% of the grade. You want to include in the cover letter your final reflections that clearly articulate growth, development, and changes in the writing process throughout the course. So those reflections are essential. That cover letter is where you talk about everything that you have learned and how you have grown and developed and changed as a writer as a result of the course. And those reflections will count for 10% of that portfolio grade. Also included in that cover letter should be reflections on and concrete examples of your progress and change in the learning process from beginning to end of the course and the completion of the official learning outcomes for RC 2001. So if you go back on our syllabus and you look at those learning objectives that I went over with you on day 1 in the video, and you look at objective 1, objective 2, objective 3, those goals for the course, you need to be able to reflect on how you have satisfied each of those learning goals. Okay? That's significant. That's where you become meta aware of what this class has done for you as a reader, writer, and thinker. That's 20% of your portfolio grade, right? So all said, then, that's 20% plus 10% plus another 10%. So that cover letter is 40% of the portfolio. Okay. So where do we grab the remaining 60%? That is in the artifacts that are required as listed above. That is right there, all of this. So you got to make sure that you put everything in there, right? You cannot get away with not revising and arriving at draft 2. You can't just give me those early rough drafts. You need to also include all the second drafts. So all those artifacts need to be in there. You need to make sure that the multimedia that you use enhances ideas, concepts, and supports the narrative logic inherited in the writing process they present in the portfolio. So if you do anything with image or hyperlinking or embedding anything into any of your texts, if you do that, you need to make sure that it's done in a way that enhances your ideas, concepts, and the logic of your texts, right? That it's not just this sort of gratuitous choice that you make in terms of like graphic art and design, but that you're actually making rhetorically sound decisions on any utilized multimedia. You want to make sure that you are using proper citations and proficiency in APA and MLA style formats. So that's 10% of the grade right there. So make sure that you have polished up on any formatting in the MLA essay early on, and then the final 2 projects that were done in APA. You want to organize the portfolio in a clear and appropriate format so that contents are easy to find. That's 10%, and that you demonstrate a substantial investment in the development of the writing process and the learning community within the course. That's 20%. And that is where, of course, you want to pay close attention to making sure that you've done a nice job with your peer response to a peer's draft and your reading responses that you felt strongly about, right? That's where you show that you are a deep and meaningful contributor to our learning community, both as a member and as a observer to others members and in their membership in the community as well. So, okay, that is it. Final portfolios are due by 5 p.m. on the last day of class. Those rough draft of your cover letter is due by midnight on Tuesday. Peer review is due by Wednesday at midnight. And then you will revise the cover letter while you're waiting on feedback. You want to make sure that you're compiling everything, that you're revising everything, and that you're ready to go so that by 5 p.m. you can submit that portfolio. Also, by this point in the semester, I am almost surely out of all appointments for paper conferences or portfolio conferences. So I do hope by now that you have booked that appointment with me and that you are all set. Thanks very much. I've enjoyed having you all.